This is News 8 at 9 on WCTX.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Rich Coppola. A historic day here in America as the 46th president is already hard at work just hours after his swearing in. Right now, here's Amber Diaz with the latest. Amber.
Rich, President Biden has been busy signing executive orders and swearing in his new staff today. But of course, this day started with all the pomp and circumstance worthy of the American presidency. Both Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris took the oath of office this morning that made history in many ways. News 8 D.C. Bureau reporter Anna Warnicki joins us live in Washington tonight with more. Anna.
Good evening. Well, President Biden is wasting no time, already signing several executive orders just hours after taking the oath of office, and then shortly thereafter addressing the nation for the first time as president. And in that address, he called for unity.
Joe Biden, now President Biden.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
Biden took the oath of office on the west steps of the U.S. Capitol, becoming the 46th President of the United States.
This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge and unity.
The ceremony kept with tradition, but was unlike any inauguration in history. Overlooking an almost empty National Mall in a city locked down over threats of domestic violence.
We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts.
President Biden says today Americans can be hopeful, nodding to his second in command, Vice President Kamala Harris, the first woman and woman of color elected to national office.
Don't tell me things can't change.
The small audience included former Presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton. Noticeably absent, former President Donald Trump.
Have a good life. We will see you soon.
Who wished the new administration luck and thanked the nation before departing for Florida. Back on the Capitol steps, President Biden said it's time for a new beginning.
We will get through this together. Together. Look.
And President Biden participated in many of the inaugural traditions today, including the pass and review. That's where the new president assesses the military, and then returned to the White House for an evening of virtual performances. Live in Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki. Back to you.
All right, new tonight, the first of President Biden's cabinet picks has been confirmed. The Senate made history tonight, confirming that Avril Haines as the Director of National Intelligence. She's the first woman to hold that position. Haines used to be the Deputy Director of the CIA and the Deputy National Security Advisor in the Obama administration. President Biden's press secretary held the administration's first briefing tonight. Jen Hosky is from Greenwich. She says the president's goal is to build trust, rebuild trust with the American people.
If the president were standing here with me today, he would say he works for the American people. I work for him, so I also work for the American people. But his objective and his commitment is to bring transparency and truth back to government, to share the truth even when it's hard to hear. And that's something that I hope to deliver on in this role as well.
Governor Lamont tweeting tonight, I'm excited to see Connecticut's own Jen Psaki leading the first press briefing of the Biden administration. Congrats on her new role. The president couldn't have selected a better person for this important position.
And at today's ceremonies, all of Connecticut's federal delegation. News 8 chief political anchor Dennis House has the reaction.
Connecticut was well represented at the inauguration today, with both senators in attendance and all 5 members of Congress who represent our state in Washington. They took part in the pomp and circumstance and enjoyed every moment of it, they told me. But they also praised President Biden for getting down to work moments after he was sworn in. Connecticut's 2 senators are both excited to be in the majority now, a 50-50 tie with Vice President Kamala Harris serving as a tiebreaker.
I'll get the chance to chair a few important subcommittees. It'll allow me to, be a little bit better advocate for the things that I care about, being in charge of committees rather than being the ranking members.
Today's inauguration brought back memories for both senators. Blumenthal remembers watching Kennedy's inauguration on TV as a teenager and his first in person. Senator, what was your first inauguration that you attended? And as you watched today's historic event, what went through your mind as you remembered the first one?
The first, though, that I attended was Jimmy Carter's. And today had many of the same feelings, the sense of the miraculous renewal of our democracy, the transfer of power peacefully, which has happened since 1789.
Both senators told me the 17 executive orders signed by President Biden today will have an immediate impact on Connecticut, especially these orders.
The moratorium on evictions and mortgage foreclosures, the pause on student debt collection, the immediate public health and economic steps will mean the most, literally, day to day, right away in Connecticut.
He knows about some of the investments that are necessary to revitalize Connecticut. He's going to focus on COVID relief and a better vaccine distribution program. That's going to help us a lot.
The Connecticut congressional delegation was on hand as well and took to social media to share their experiences. 1st District Congressman John Larson, Joe Courtney from CT2, 3rd District Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, the senior member of the delegation, and Jim Himes of the 4th District, and Johanna Hayes of CT4 with her husband. Congratulatory messages were also appearing on social media from Governor Lamont and mayors across the state of Connecticut. I'm Dennis House, News 8.
New tonight, as President Joe Biden takes the White House, the people of Connecticut are taking to the streets. Faith leaders and social justice groups rallied in New Haven earlier this evening. Some marched, others drove, and an online rally happened at the same time for the people's inauguration. With the new administration, they want to inaugurate 4 years of working together for social and economic injustice.
Martin Luther King had a dream and we fell asleep. So we need to make sure that the equity extends from the HR businesses, HR offices, hospitals, schools, law, streets. We need to be seen, heard. We need a table at the table.
The groups also called for immigration reform, health care for all, and economic recovery for everyone.
I'm News 8 Shayna Ferreira in Ridgefield, where a Connecticut man is now facing charges in connection to the riot at the U.S. Capitol back on January 6th. This suspect, identified as 23-year-old Patrick Edward McCoffney III. McCoffney, seen here, is facing a slew of charges, including assaulting a police officer along with civil disorder. This video capturing the moments where McCoffney was attempting to pin down an officer, now identified as Daniel Hodges. Court documents obtained by News 8 allege that McCoffney willingly traveled to Washington to join a crowd who forcibly entered the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. The suspect, seen here at the front of the line, was quickly identified by investigators who have put out nationwide calls for help identifying those involved in the violent breach. The U.S. Department of Justice says that McCoffney can be seen using a clear police riot shield to push against the officer's body.
Got pinned through the small back and forth we had, fighting for every inch. There's nothing I can do to defend myself at this point, so I just started screaming top of my lungs for them to give me a way out, give me a line or a treat.
Now, McCoffney is being held tonight without bail. He's set to face a judge in Washington after an appearance in New York. In Ridgefield, Shayna Ferreira, News 8.
As we mentioned earlier, President Biden hit the ground running after his swearing-in ceremony. He signed 17 executive orders tonight. That's more than Presidents Trump, Obama, and Bush. Most of those orders reversed many of Trump's directives. They include stopping the construction of the Mexico border wall, re-entering the Paris Climate Agreement, and the World Health Organization, ended the Muslim travel ban, and imposed a mask mandate on federal grounds.
And one of those executive orders that was signed by President Joe Biden tonight was an extensive immigration reform bill that includes an 8-year pathway for immigrants to stay in the United States. That means those living in the U.S. as of January 1st would be allowed 5 years temporary status and the opportunity to earn a green card. The president also wants to expand the deferred action for childhood arrivals known as DACA. The program allows young people known as dreamers who were brought to the U.S. illegally as children to stay in the country and work without being deported on a 2-year renewable term. I spoke to one dreamer who says the president needs a long-term plan for dreamers, and the 8-year plan they feel is too long.
My dad was about to be deported during the Obama administration and again during Trump administration. I think the 8-year plan is too long. We've known many parents, at least from my parents, and I know a lot of parents who've been here 20 plus years, 30 plus years waiting, right, and paying lawyers to get their citizenship, right? So I think 8 years is way too long.
If you recall, the Trump administration tried to end the DACA program in 2017. A judge ruled he had failed to provide an adequate reason to justify ending that program.
Given security fears and, of course, the pandemic, the traditional inaugural parade wasn't an option this year. Well, wait, there was one tradition. The parade included the U.S. Coast Guard band, which has been a part of every inauguration since Herbert Hoover's nearly a century ago.
We are the United States Coast Guard Band, based in New London, Connecticut, and we are honored to have performed in every inauguration since 1929.
The band represented the U.S. Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security. Originally, the band had 18 members, and according to the U.S. Coast Guard documentary, shortly after his inauguration, President Hoover, having noticed how small the band was, authorized the addition of 10 musicians. Currently, it's a 55-member ensemble.
With a pandemic and a security threat, today's inauguration of the nation's president was like no other. On Nyberg at 9, we talked to an expert for his insight on where today's ceremony falls in history.
With the new administration, what does that mean for our state? We'll take a look.
State police once again digging at a property, Connecticut, to Fotis Dulos. We have an update on that search.